can hear them talking, but I don't like what they're saying. And I know they're plotting, do they wanna kill me? Maybe. Through my mind they're walking, this shit happens on the daily. Mind is like a haunting, I've been going insane lately.
They're the voices
up inside of my head,
and the choices.
What's up everybody, it's Magisto, and today I'm coming at you with a deck of Yu-Gi-Oh! It's going to be my Fluffals. I haven't done a deck profile in a while, so here we go. Start off with 3 Fluffal Dog. When this card is summoned, you can add a Fluffal or an Edge Imp Sabers from your deck to your hand. And we got 3 copies of Bear. When he is summoned, when he's on the field, you can sacrifice him and you can return a Polymerization from your grave to your hand. And then his best effect is you can discard him from your hand and set a Toy Vendor spell card from your deck to the field. After that, we got 3 copies of Wings. You can vanish this card from your grave and then vanish a Fluffal from your grave. And then you draw a card and then you destroy Toy Vendor and then you draw another card. So it's a good hand refuel. And then for next we got 2 copies of Penguin. When this card is used as a fusion material, you're able to draw 2 cards and then discard 1, kind of like a mini Graceful Charity. And then it has another effect. Once per turn during your main phase, you can special summon a Fright or a Fluffal monster from your hand besides Penguin. After that, we got 2 copies of Owl. I see a lot of people running 1, which is stupid. This card is great at 2. You can activate only 1 of the effects per turn, but when it's summoned, you can add a Polymerization from your deck to your hand, or you could pay 500 life points and fusion summon, but you can only do that once per turn. From there, we got 2 copies of Cat. I see a lot of people playing this at 1 too, but this is a great card because when it's used as a fusion material, you're able to get your Polymerization back from your grave. After that, for the Edge Imps, we got 3 copies of Chain. And when this card attacks, you can add another copy of Chain from your deck to your hand. And when this card is sent to the grave, you can add a Frightfur card from your deck to your hand. After that, we got 2 copies of Edge Imp Sabers. You can send a card from your hand to the top of your deck and then summon Sabers from the grave, but you can only do this once per turn. And that's it for the Edge Imps. And then for the non-related monsters, we have 2 copies of King of the Swamp. It can be used as a fusion substitute, but it only works for the Frightfurs where they have named materials. And you could also discard it from your hand to add a Polymerization from your deck to your hand. And so that's it for the monsters. Get those out of the way, and then we'll move into the spell cards. We got 3 copies of Toy Vendor. Once per turn you can discard a card, and then you can draw a card and reveal it. If it's a Fluffal, you can summon a monster from your hand. Otherwise, you have to send it to the grave. And it also has the effect that when it's sent to the grave, you can add a Frightfur, or no, a Fluffal or Edge Imp Sabers from your deck to your hand. After that, we got 2 Frightfur Fusion. You can only activate 1 of these per turn, but you can vanish fusion materials for a Frightfur monster from your field and grave to fusion summon. Next, we have 1 Factory. You can vanish a Polymerization or a fusion spell from your grave, and then you can fusion summon for a Frightfur by sending monsters from your field and hand to the grave. And then you can also, when this card is sent to the grave, you're able to add a Frightfur fusion from a spell card from your Vanish Zone to your hand. And then next, for one of the new cards, we have 1 copy of Frightfur Reborn. You can summon a Frightfur from your grave, and then during your main phase, except the turn it's sent, you're able to vanish it and return a Frightfur or Fluffal to your grave that was vanished. Next, we got 3 Polymerization. Let you fusion summon. Everybody knows what this shit does. I dropped 1 of them. Alright. And we got 1 Instant Fusion. Everybody should know what that does. 2 copies of Fusion Recovery. You can return a Polymerization and a fusion material from your grave to your hand. Next, 2 Mystical Space Typhoons. Get rid of those back row. 1 Twin Twister. Again, get rid of those back row. I also run a Raigeki. Destroy the monsters, as well as a Dark Hole. And that's it for the main deck. 40 cards. And we'll get into the extra deck. So we have 2 copies of Tiger. This one takes Edgemp Sabers and any number of Fluffals to bring it out, and then you can, when it's fusion summoned, you can just target the same number of cards as the materials you used and destroy those targets. And it gains, Frightfurs gain 300 attack for each Frightfur and Fluffal you control. And then joining those we have 2 Sabretooth. This one takes Edgemps, or a Frightfur, and then 1 or more Fluffal and or Edgemps, and you're able to summon a Frightfur fusion from your grave when you fusion summon it. And also it gains 400 attack for each Frightfur you control, or no, just all your Frightfurs gain 400, sorry. And also if you use 3 or more materials to bring it out, you're able to make it where it cannot be destroyed by card effects or battle. And then we have 2 Kraken, one of the best ones. When he attacks after the battle phase, he switches to defense, and he also can attack twice per turn on monsters. Oh no, he can just attack twice per turn. And then he has an ability where you can send a monster your opponent controls to the grave, but he cannot attack directly on that turn. We have 2 copies of Sheep. This one allows you to bring, when it attacks, your opponent cannot activate cards until the end of the damage step. And if this card is destroyed and sent to the grave by an opponent's card effect, you can summon this card from the grave, and it gains 800 attack. Next we have the Frightfur Daredevil. This guy, when he destroys a monster and sends it to the grave, you're able to inflict 1,000 to your opponent. And when this card is destroyed and sent to the grave, you can inflict 500 damage to your opponent for each of your Frightfur monsters in the grave. Next we have 1 Leo. This guy is pretty cool. You don't bring him out very much, but he's actually really good. Once per turn you can destroy a monster on your opponent's side of the field, and then they take damage equal to, I believe it's original, yeah, original attack. And then we have 1 copy of Wolf. He can attack equal to the number of fusion materials you use to bring him out. 1 Bear. Most people don't run this, but I run all of them. So, but when he kills a monster, you can equip it to him, and he gains 1,000. We have 1 Chimera. I don't think I've ever summoned this thing, but it's pretty cool. Takes 3 materials, but you can, when it attacks, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects till the end of the damage step. And then if he destroys a monster and sends it to the grave, you're able to summon that monster to your field. And then this card gains 300 for each monster that you have stolen with his effect. And next we have 1 Honor Arc. I'm sure everybody knows what he does. And 1 Castell. And that's it for the Xyz. And that's the deck. Hope you guys liked it. Let me know in the comments, all that shit. And I'm out.